Last week, we went over time talking about the top books to become a billionaire, or at least what the billionaires will tell you that help them get to where they are. This episode of Retirement Solutions for All Ages will cover books 4 through 10. On to book number 4. Where is it? The Richest Man in Babylon. Look at how teeny weeny this book is. It is so small and easy to read. I don't even remember the guy's name, George Clason, but I remember when I was told you have to read the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, to understand classic personal finances. And this has been around since 1920. It's older than Think and Grow Rich or How to Win Friends and Influence People. And it's through a set of parables from ancient Babylon. And it teaches simple wealth rules like saving at least 10% and living below your means and investing wisely. So, as I was saying, when I first read this, it was kind of eye-opening for me. And I told my dad, "Oh, have you read this book?" And he said, "It's stupid. It's a nothing book." And it's because he already lived by those principles. He was taught that through hard work and trial and error and having his father grow up during the Depression. And I think that's why the date of this book is so important, 1920s. One of the stories that my dad told me was how people would go bankrupt because they would threaten tenants. Landlords would threaten tenants. "If you don't pay me, I'm kicking you out." And they kick them out and no one can afford to move in. Whereas the people who survived, they're like, "Pay me what you can." And that way, the landlord is at least getting some money in. And I barely remember the book, but I do remember how simple it was. And it is the foundation of how you can earn interest on lending money and how living below your means is utterly important. And that's what Retirement Solutions for All Ages is all about. How you can live your life now so that you can enjoy it later and not be worried about it. Now, I want you to live your life now and not stress, but it's really a lot easier to live on a small income when you haven't kept up with the Joneses. As you grow older, it seems to get harder and harder. You have less time for failure and losses. And the best way to become a billionaire is to fail. You learn through experiences. Ask anybody out there who has made millions or billions of dollars if they've ever lost their wealth and had to start over again. It's amazing. Do not be afraid to fail. All right, book number 5. This one I listen on audio all the time. I don't have an example. It is Atomic Habits by James Clear. This is a contemporary book, and it is widely read about habit formation. And every business person I have ever talked to talks about Atomic Habits is one of their favorite books. It explains how tiny daily improvements compound into massive results. It introduces systems like habit stacking. Atomic Habits, the number one item is getting 1% better every day. Is there anyone out there who is actively in business and growing and learning, not getting better 1% per day? Think about athletes. They are constantly trying to improve just that tiny bit. The atom is a small measure, but it makes up the entire universe. So, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Go rent the audio, go buy the book, go borrow the book from the library, get your college education through 10 books. Start growing your wealth now and your mindset. Okay, so number 6, Start with Why by Simon Sinek. Now, what I like about Simon Sinek is watching his TED Talks, his YouTube interviews, seeing him talk about why, I think is more valuable than actually reading or listening to his books. You want that human interaction, and why is so important. What's funny is how he gives an example of going on a date. And guy says, "Oh, I'm rich, I'm handsome, I'm this and that." And the date fails. But if he goes into why, the date is a success. And he uses examples like great big huge companies like Apple and Coca-Cola, I guess. I can't remember all of the companies, but Apple is a really big one because they successfully do why. And I can't remember who the one is that unsuccessfully did why, other than maybe Apple's competitors. So go on YouTube, search Simon Sinek, Sinek, and get the book. Start with Why. All right, number 7, Who Moved the Cheese by Spencer Johnson. I wouldn't dare ask my dad to read this one. He's not around anymore. And I don't know the date of when Who Moved the Cheese came out, probably the 80s. But it would be even stupider to him than The Richest Man in Babylon. Who Moved the Cheese is about not relying on your laurels, being able to anticipate change, not getting stuck in your little bubble. And when that bubble bursts, what are you going to do? It was, I believe, universally panned when it first came out and became one of those cult classics because it was so simple. It's okay. You could replace number 7 with the children's book, The Little Engine That Could. I think I can. I think I can. I think I can. You need that determination to go forward. But Who Moved the Cheese is these mice were going to get their food every day. And when the food ran out, some of them died and some of them went to find where the cheese was. It's a very simple book. Again, I think I listened to it on audio and it was probably only about an hour long, if that, maybe 10 minutes. So you listen to it 4 or 5 times in a row. Read it to your kids. Who Moved the Cheese by Spencer Johnson. Number 8, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. This is a turnaround completely from some of the old classic sales skills. It's modern negotiations based on FBI hostage tactics. Now, this one I started to listen to on audio, and because he's trying to calm people in highly volatile situations, he talks very slow, Well, my ADHD brain can't handle that. I put them on 1.5, possibly 2 speed. And the information was mind-boggling. And I can understand that when you are in those situations, you need to be calm. You need to think. You need to have that patience because you can't argue with someone who's crazy. So, when it comes to a lot of financial decisions, people get emotional. They can't think logically. And this book, Never Split the Difference, will help you in negotiating and using some of the emotional aspects and the logical aspects. So I highly recommend reading Never Split the Difference, or if you're going to listen to it on audio, perk up the speed a little bit. Number 9, The Power of Habits by Charles Duhigg. It explains the habit loop: cue, routine, reward. Now, this is really good if you're dieting too, or trying to work out, improve your health. Anything you do in life involves habits. So, this is how individuals and organizations can reshape their behavior by modifying triggers and rewards. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I have not read this one. I don't know it that well. I don't even know when it came out, but to me, it sounds the same line as Atomic Habits. And I did write a diet book myself. One of the things that I rely on is, from a psychology standpoint, decision fatigue. I prefer to put on the same shirt every single day so I don't have to think about what I'm going to wear. So if you want to make your life easier, you don't want to have to think about everything. So you get up in the morning, you make your bed, you brush your teeth. Those are habits. If you get up in the morning and go, okay, what am I supposed to do? Are you going to forget to brush your teeth one day? Are you going to leave your bed a mess because it's not a habit? These are things that can really change your life by simply making them a habit. Number 10, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, I have very mixed feelings about the author of this book. I absolutely loved his board game back in the 80s. I used to play that, and he actually wrote the book to try and promote the board game. It's a modern version of Monopoly. And at the time, paying off student loans, there was no reason to do that. Let that sit. But he taught you about investing in stocks, investing in real estate. It was fun. It talked about responsibilities, how having kids and buying a boat can set you back financially. It was amazing playing this board game. And we would have groups of people go, 12 of us, and have 4 different boards, and we'd all play 3 or 4 boards and 12 to 16 people. A lot of fun, learned a lot. Then he developed an online version, and I started playing this game with people from all over the world. You could just hear these 16 and 18-year-olds excited about the American dream, and this is how they're going to learn about it. Now, one of the aspects that I have a little trouble with is in teaching a lot of his philosophy, he also started doing seminars and charging an awful lot of money. And I'm not sure that it was really worth it to the people. I think you need a simple foundation, like the books, like college. You're not going to learn what you need in college, but you're going to learn how to grow up and some basic elements of life. And when you start having people charging you thousands of dollars with the dreams of you're getting rich, I'm sorry, there's no get rich quick schemes. You need to, what was one of the other books? Perseverance. What are some of the things? You need the mindset. You need to be proactive. You need to prioritize tasks. You need to save money. You need to live below your means. You need to invest wisely. You need to make tiny improvements every day, and they will compound to massive results. Are the top 10 books. 1, Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. 2, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. 3, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. 4, The Richest Man in Babylon by George Clason. 5, Atomic Habits by James Clear. 6, Start with Why by Simon Sinek. 7, Who Moved My Cheese by Spencer Johnson. 8, Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. 9, The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. And 10, The Rich Man, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Great book, great board game, great online game. And I hope that you all will become rich. Now remember, if you derive benefit from this episode, hit that subscribe button. Tell your friends, families, share it with somebody, and even write a review. Now, when it comes to any top 10 list, everyone has different opinions. What is your favorite book? Thank you for watching Retirement Solutions for All Ages. I'm Ruth, your retirement mortgage expert.